Hello, everybody. It's Dacia Moore, licensed professional counselor, life coach, and helping you to get your second wind. That's right. Second wind is actually a marathon racer's term or running term where a runner is running a long race and gets exhausted. But if she just keeps running, she will get her second wind and eventually finish her race and successfully finish her race. And that's what I'm here to share with you about topics that will help you to get your second win. So this is Second Wind program. Today is Thursday. So I guess it's Second Wind Thursday, and we're going to be starting the program in just about a minute. Today's topic, as you can see, is scrolling along the bottom, is the Strong Black Woman Syndrome. Now, April is Stress Awareness Month, and we are going to be talking about stress and the Strong Black Woman Syndrome in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. That's right. It is time to get your second wind. I'm your host, Dacia Moore, licensed professional counselor and CEO of Second Wind Counseling and Consulting. And Second Wind provides counseling services, coaching services, workshops on mental health issues to help you to find and get your second wind. So I'm so happy that you're here joining me. We are going to be talking about the Strong Black Woman Syndrome. That is today's topic. Now, April is Stress Awareness Month. And so we are talking about ways to reduce your stress, and strong Black women are at the top of the list in terms of having stress, having to deal with stress, and not really very successfully managing stress. So there is an intersection between racism and sexism that Black women, especially Black women in leadership, have to endure. And so we're going to talk about how to manage our stress as strong Black women. I am taking some of the information from a book that I have called Black Woman's Mental Health. Yes, this is a good book, and it has a lot of information about Black women and mental health. And they have a chapter called When the Bow Breaks, the Strong Black Woman and the Embodiment of Stress. The embodiment of stress, meaning that stress gets into our bodies. We embody stress. We don't handle it very well. And then we have additional health issues like fatigue or high blood pressure or diabetes. That is one reason why African Americans are more at risk for health issues, as we do not handle our stress very well. And we have been under duress and much stress all of our lives. My mother certainly was, my grandmother certainly was, and I am. But the key is to learn how to manage stress. So listen, I know that you are a strong Black woman, okay? I know that you are a strong Black woman, but the difference, and you can see it in the spelling, what we're talking about is this strong Black woman. There are no spaces in between the words. So you can be a strong Black woman and learn and have you handling your stress just fine. You have a good work-life balance, and you have the pressures of leadership. And so you manage that well. And then you have the pressures of home life. Maybe you're married or you're with a partner, you have children, and you do a pretty good job of balancing. God bless you, right on, sister. But there are a whole lot of women who have this all smushed together, strong Black woman. And let me give you some definitions of what this indicates, because the difference between a Black woman who is strong and being a strong Black woman, where it's all together, indicates that you have a superwoman complex, a woman who has inordinate strength, who can tolerate unusual amounts of misery, heavy, distasteful work. She doesn't have fear or the same fears or weaknesses and insecurities as other women, but herself, she believes herself to be, in fact, emotionally stronger than most men. Now, maybe that sounds like you, but that is not necessarily a good thing, because in the psychological literature, Regina Romero first utilized the term strong Black woman, all smushed together, to describe behaviors that she observed in some of her Black female therapy clients, which included the ability to withstand without complaint heavy duty stress, the capability of enduring life struggles without any sign of duress. You are the caregiver of everybody, not only of your immediate family, your husband and children, but also of your extended family and well. Now, this means that there is excessive, almost compulsive activity and involvement. I have a client right now who works, she says, I go, do. And that is one of the hallmarks of this part of the equation, where you have everything mushed together. You don't give yourself permission for margin time. You don't give yourself permission for rest. You are constantly on the go. Your activities benefit everybody else, and you don't even think that you should be on the list of people to take care of. You are so other focused that self-care feels selfish. Now, we have a society now where we've heard about self-care. We've heard about mental health, which is, it's a blessing. But in any trend or in any really category of things that get popular, you can swing the pendulum in the wrong direction. And I have heard of people who are now divorcing their spouse and running away from their children, all in the name of self-care. That is not the self-care that I'm talking about. This is from a biblical perspective, a Christian worldview. That is my worldview, and I'm sharing it with you, that there has got to be a balance. We don't want to swing one way or the other. See, one way, you were only taking care of yourself and you don't care about everybody else. And this way, you're taking care of everybody else and you don't care about yourself. We are looking at being in the middle, where you take care of other people, but you also take care of yourself. That's the balance that we are looking for. Now, when I mentioned to you about my other client who is a doer, goer, I would say probably 30% of the clients that I see and have seen over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, certainly the pandemic allowed a lot of people to rest and to stay still. But after the pandemic, and we're quite a few years past post-pandemic, it has gotten back to normal. And so I want to share with you about a young lady that I have worked with. I worked with her for a couple of years. She is doing so much better now, but she actually came to me and said, Miss Dacia, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders. Everybody calls me to find out what to do, where to go, how to pay for. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Can you help me pay for this? Can you help me pay for that? And then when I call to ask for help, they are surprised, like I'm not supposed to ask for help. She says, Miss Dacia, I give to everybody all of the time. She even had an instance that we processed where she has a family member who called her at 4 a.m. in the morning. She normally gets up at 7. So 4 a.m. is in the middle of her sleep cycle. And her family member was calling her because it wasn't an emergency. Her family member had just gotten into an argument with her significant other. There was no physical violence, no sexual violence involved. There was just an argument. And the sister calls, or the family member calls my client to ask her what should she do. Now, it's easy for you to say, well, don't answer your phone. But if you have grown up knowing that people need you, if you have grown up by being the go-to person, the one that everybody goes to, and I know there's some strong Black women all smushed together who are watching this, and that is you. Everybody calls you when they need help, but who do you call is my question. Who do you call? And a lot of times, women who struggle with the strong Black woman syndrome don't have anybody to call. One, because they feel guilty. They have some pride in being the go-to person, being the doer, being the one who gets things done. And that's understandable. If you are a doer, if you are a get it doneer, a go-getter, I am too, but there's got to be balance. Okay. So there's pride that gets in the way. There is, and then there's some guilt. Like if I say no, what I'm going to be letting somebody down. Now, the client that I'm talking about, I'll call her Sally. That's not her real name. She's about 41 years old, a professional woman. She just recently got her advanced degree a couple of years ago. She has a history of significant trauma. And I believe, and we talked about this, that's where her people pleasing came in. In her early days, in her teens and early 20s, she used sex as power, that was her power. But as she began to come out of that behavior and into into healthier behavior, she began to use her go-getting attitude, her get it done attitude, as her drug of choice, as her power. So people would say, I need this done. Oh, I can do that. I need this done. I can do that. And over time, she began to be the person that everybody would go to. So you have a constellation of behaviors where when you were young, you were a people pleaser and you did things for other people. You know, maybe you don't have the traumatic occurrences that she had, which really solidified in her mind the need to people please, because maybe she could keep this other stuff away if she were to do this over here. And then when she couldn't, she just said, well, you know what, let me use it as my power. All right. So very complex situation. But maybe you've learned, not that you've had that trauma, but you've learned that when you're the one who gets things done, you get a lot of pats on the back. Good for you. Oh my gosh, you're such a wonderful person. Thank you so much. You get all of that accolades. You get all of that congratulatory comments. And it makes you feel good. Of course, anybody would. But the problem is that if you keep doing it, you end up losing yourself. You end up going, doing. And that is what the strong Black woman syndrome, this second piece right here, that is what it is made of, is that you're so outward focused and you're doing for so many other people all of the time, you're not even on the list. You're not even on the list. And that can be because of people pleasing. That can be because of guilt. That could be for a lot of different reasons. And so I have some things that I'm going to suggest to you. First of all, to get out of the strong Black woman syndrome takes time. All right. You are not going to turn a new leaf overnight. It is a process. And I would encourage you, as you're watching this, and that sounds like you, and you're tired. Most likely you're tired of doing for everybody else, and you're tired of people not being there for you. Sometimes it's because you don't give yourself permission to need other people, or you think that if you show that you need other people, that's weakness, and you don't want anybody to think that you're weak because everybody thinks that you're so strong. Well, you can be a strong Black woman. I am, and I need help with some things sometimes, and that's okay. The REBT, the kind of therapy that I work with, the kind of coaching style that I help my coaching clients with, and what I teach when I go and do inspirational workshops is unconditional self-acceptance. That is a journey to learn how to fully embrace and accept yourself as you are, with all of your wonderfulness, but all of your not so much, kind of stuff that needs to be worked on, the stuff that we just don't tell people about, the stuff that we like to hide. Okay. So, but let me share this with you. If you are in the category of the do, go, 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 it is not a matter of avoiding guilt. So you say yes a lot of times because you're trying to avoid guilt. So it's not a matter of avoiding guilt and then being happy. Let's say that you want to come out of the strong Black woman syndrome. You want to stop doing for everybody else, and it is going to take time. You will feel some guilt because you have been in the habit of taking care of everybody else. So you will feel some guilt about saying no, and you may feel some guilt about saying yes to yourself. But check this out. If you keep being the go-to person and never allowing yourself to be replenished, that is a recipe for resentment. That is a recipe for resentment and bitterness, because eventually you will get tired of doing for everybody else and you will begin to resent, why isn't anybody concerned about me? Who can I call to help me? What if I don't want to help you and I just want to sit down on my couch and relax? So it is, again, a process of coming to terms with being this woman, strong space, Black space woman. You have those spaces in between that give you margin time to relax, to rejuvenate, to pour into yourself so that you can be stronger to give to others. And we want to get away from this woman who is doing everything for everybody else and doesn't even give herself time to restructure, rejuvenate, to pour into herself. So how do you do it? Let me give you a few suggestions. Number one, sometimes you need to say no to other people because you doing for others often, or sometimes, I should say sometimes, can make them believe that they are not able to do it for themselves. As the example that I gave a little bit earlier with my client and the family member who called her at 4 a.m. Just think what would have happened had you not answered the phone. She answered the phone. She gave her family member some advice. The family member took it. But guess what happened the next time there was an issue? The family member felt, it was a sister, felt that she didn't have the knowledge or the wisdom. And so she made the phone call again. And I said to my client, Sally, that's not her name. I said, Sally, what would happen if you did not answer the phone? She said, well, I guess my sister would have to figure it out. Huh. And then what would happen? Well, I guess maybe she would figure it out and then she would be responsible for her own decisions. See, part of the problem was, or part of the issue was, that sister was afraid to make decisions because she didn't want to be responsible for the decisions. So it's much easier to say, Sally told me to do X, Y, Z. Oh, so you don't like that? Well, I was just doing what Sally told me to do. You see how that works? No. Own your decisions, make your decisions, do the thing. And if it turns out wrong, hey, listen, I'm so sorry. But it was my decision. Own your decisions. It was my decision. So I said to Sally, I said, Sally, try to resist answering the phone call the next time your sister calls you at 4 a.m. in the morning, because you want to set some healthy boundaries. And that's the next thing, folks. Healthy boundaries. I could do 15 shows on healthy boundaries, and I might one day. Um, but learning how to have margin time and how to have healthier boundaries where you are reeling in all of that doing, and you're sitting down. I have another client, and she said to me, Miss Dacia, I'm going to start sitting down on my couch when I get home instead of popping off and doing, everybody, as soon as she walks in the door, mom, this, mom, we need you, mom. She's going to sit down, and they're going to say, Mom, I'm hungry. And she said that she would say, you know what, go in the fridge and get you something to eat. Or, who else is cooking dinner tonight? I'm tired. She's going to give herself permission to sit down and let people figure it out. Now, that doesn't work every time, but my suggestion to you is give it a try. Give it a try and just think about it and say, this is what you say. Either you can say, no, I'm not going to do this right now. That might be asking a lot for somebody who is into the habit of saying yes all the time. So this is what I want you to say. I learned this from a friend of mine. And this is how you do it. You put your finger up onto your cheek and hold your chin. You don't have to frown. And you could say, you know what? Let me think about that. When the next person asks you to do something, this is what you are to say. Let me think about that. All right. So you're replacing your yes with, let me think about that. Because sometimes you need the time to think about, do I want to do this? Do I have the time or the money to do this? Do I have the capacity to do this? And is it in my hula hoop? Do I need to do this? Or maybe they need to do this. I have a niece, love her dearly. She calls me all the time. I normally answer my phone when she calls, but sometimes I don't, because I have learned that sometimes it's good to let people figure things out. And I talked to her yesterday, and guess what? She figured it out. I have confidence in her that you don't always have to call me for the answer. Sometimes you can figure it out. And so as I was talking to her yesterday, she said, Auntie D, da 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 da. And, I figured it out. And you know what that did for her? That gave her confidence in herself. So people who are the strong Black woman and everybody's coming to you, sometimes that's not good, because you are enabling those people and you are making them think that you are not making them think. I misspoke, but you are supporting the idea that you are not capable of doing it yourself. So you need to ask or come and see me. This program, my intention of counseling, when I counsel, when I coach, when I teach, and even doing this program on wherever you're watching it, is to help you become stronger. And sometimes you have to go through something to become stronger. And sometimes we need help to become stronger. But we often try to take the easy route and ask people their opinions. What do you think I should do? This, that, and the other, instead of deciding ourselves. Okay. So the strong Black woman is the go-to person. You're the one who always wants to tell people what to do. And what I'm suggesting to you is sometimes they need to figure it out. You don't have to give them the answer all the time, because that may not be helping them become stronger. All right. So healthier boundaries, figuring out how to say no, figuring out how to take some margin time, figuring out, if you don't want to say no, say, let me think about that. But you know what? You may need to practice saying no in the mirror. You may need to practice becoming more comfortable with saying no. So that is all that I have for you today. I invite you to to continue to become a not a smushed strong Black woman, but to become that Black woman who is there to help her family, and also she helps herself. Continue to connect with me. Sign up for my monthly e-newsletter, the Second Wind Snippet. You can go to my website, secondwindcc.com, because we all need a second wind. Sign up for the snippet, which is my monthly e-newsletter. I send downloadable resources. I send you links to articles. I've got all kinds of great resources that I want you to share and pass it on. I am here to help you by sharing what I know to help you manage your stress, to help you manage and improve your emotional intelligence so you can make the rest of your life the best of your life. That is what I hope for you. So you can connect with me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and I'm going to add my LinkedIn channel, because if you are a leader, this is certainly going to help you. That strong Black woman syndrome is very prevalent in strong Black women who are leaders, and you may need to have some help with that balance. So, again, I hope that you have enjoyed today's show, and I will be back next week to help you continue to get your second wind. All right, bye bye.